All right, so last time we talked about pen and paper methods. So in the ancient times, we had these techniques or small devices like Skytail, but now due to developments in technology, this allowed us to use first machines, then the computers to be used in encryption. So briefly, let's look at how these pen and paper techniques were broken and how new methods were developed. So historical ciphers should not be used in this age. This is very important because although it seems obvious, there are still applications in App Store or Google Play which uses these simple techniques and claiming that they use encryption, but actually they do not. You can easily break some of the ciphers in those applications. And frequency analysis is very important because it is a statistical technique, and even in modern ciphers, we apply techniques to break ciphers, which are statistical techniques like differential cryptanalysis and linear cryptanalysis. In order to understand these modern techniques, we should be very familiar with frequency analysis. Okay, remember that frequency analysis was to count the number of appearances of letters and then use those statistical imbalance to decipher the ciphertext. And also knowledge of cryptanalysis techniques can get you higher IQ scores if you're interested, if you think that it has some value. In Turkey, it is for some reason very important because every parent says that their kid has a fantastic IQ or something. So every Turkish kid is actually Einstein. Probably you know that. So maybe it is important. Also, cryptanalysis of historical ciphers allow you to solve some puzzles from newspapers or video games. If you're familiar with techniques, especially in adventure games, in video games, it is very easy to pass some of the puzzles. So for instance, this is a screenshot from Broken Sword. So you capture a letter like here, and at the top it says that this is done by using a substitution cipher. So every letter in the alphabet was replaced with a symbol from here. So your aim is to, for instance, if you think that this symbol is A, so you click A here and that symbol, so all of them becomes A, and so on. So you try to modify them. So, but of course, it is easier here because we have empty places. But recall that in historical cipher, generally, we don't use this empty places and punctuation marks so that it becomes very hard for the person who tries to break. But you can easily do frequency analysis to this and easily capture the ciphertext. So another example from history is from World War I. So this is a very famous telegram sent from German Empire to Mexico. I think Zimmerman was responsible for international relations. So there was a diplomatic proposal sent in 1917 from German Empire offering a military alliance with Mexico in case US enters World War I. So at that time, United States still is not in the war because they want to be involved, but the citizens don't want to because they say that this is not our war, right? So, but just in case, Zimmerman sends a telegram to Mexico and dispatched by the Foreign Secretary Arthur Zimmerman, coded with diplomatic cipher 13,040. So this is a code-based cipher. So remember that in Kirchhoff principles, we said that the algorithm should not be secret, but the secret key should be secret. But in this kind of coded techniques, the algorithm is somewhat secret. So I will explain how it works. So direct telegraph transmission was not possible because the British had cut the German international cables at the outbreak of war. So it is not easy to send a telegram from Germany to Mexico because you have to pass the ocean. However, the USA allowed limited use of its diplomatic cables for Germany to communicate with its ambassador in Washington. So they used this cable, but the message was delivered to the US Embassy in Berlin and then transmitted by diplomatic cable to Copenhagen and then to London for onward transmission over transatlantic cable to Washington. The Germans assumed that the US cable was secure and used it extensively. But of course, British listened to everything. Of course, since they're speaking in an encrypted way, they thought that nobody would understand. So this was the original telegram sent to Mexico. So as you can see, there are only numbers here, sometimes 3 digits, sometimes 5 digits, and so on. So this coding version of ciphers works like this. So you write every German word and then randomly assign a number to them, of course, in a bijective way, so you don't use the same number for 2 different words. So whenever you write a letter, you just open that code book and replace every word with the code. And that's it. As long as you keep that book secret, nobody can translate it. But the thing is that British people actually destroyed the German submarine, and inside it they captured this book. So they know which word corresponds to which number and so on. So, okay, here it explains. British had captured documents about diplomatic cipher in Mesopotamia. The disclosure would expose room for this breaking of German codes, and also that Britain was eavesdropping on the US cable. So if you decipher it and explain it, then German will know that you are listening to them. So this happens a lot during the war, by the way. Once you decipher something, you have to leak that information so that it will appear that it leaked from someplace else. As a cover story, British could publicly claim that their agents had stolen the telegram deciphered text in Mexico. Privately, the British needed to give the Americans this cipher so that US government could independently verify the authenticity of the message with their own commercial telegraphic records. However, Americans agreed to back the official cover story. Revelations outraged American public opinion, helped generate support for the United States declaration of war on Germany in April 1917. So as you can see, decrypting some message helps a lot in a time of war. So this kind of cryptanalysis actually changed the course of history. Okay, so this is an example from that deciphering of that telegram. As you can see, in front of some numbers, you have the German words. For instance, like here, und, in English it's and so on. And as you can see, the state of Arizona, so the word of Arizona is not in the code book. So you cannot code it. In order to code it, they divided into 2 letters, since every 2 letter has a code number in the book, so that this is how they write Arizona. And the fully decrypted telegram is like this. It says that they actually, Germans assume that these states, Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona of United States, will belong to Mexico if they enter war with them. So this is why Americans got outraged. So this is why they actually, declared war upon Germany. Okay. So this was just one example that changed the history of the course of history.